Summer workouts have started for the Indiana Hoosiers and head coach Mike Woodson, and the rumor is
you are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply with Game Time. Well, thank you so much for being here again, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. Reminder, we are in our off-season here at Locked On Hoosiers, so getting to 3 or 4 days a week. We're doing our best here in the summer days. And while summer is upon us, right? Summer's hot. It's going on, everything, right? You've got summer workouts happening for Indiana basketball. And there are some reports, some rumors and some murmuring and some things that I'm hearing and being told about Indiana basketball and what's been happening early on in those summer workouts. We'll talk about that today, plus some good news. Xavier Johnson, former point guard here in Bloomington, working out for an NBA team on this Thursday, so I'll have that for you as well, and what that could mean for him if he could make it at the next level. Plus, a little bit more of a broad discussion with the new changes coming to college football, college basketball, and just college athletics. How can the Hoosiers benefit from what the future of college athletics will look like? All of that on the show today here on Locked On Hoosiers. Well, summer practice, summer workouts, all those things have begun for Mike Woodson and this Indiana basketball team. And it's no secret. You look up and down the roster, this is a completely different team. Yes, you do have some familiar faces with Trey Galloway, and you've got Mackenzie Mgbako coming back and Malik Renew coming back, two huge guys that are returning to this Indiana basketball team. But then you've got the new faces, the transfer guys who have been and really created what is a top 3 transfer portal class in the country. Oumar Ballo, Myles Rice, right? Kanaan Carlyle. You look at Luke Goody, plus you have Bryson Tucker, the freshman, coming in, and a guy that people continue to talk about, Ja'Kai Newton, the redshirt freshman, who we just haven't really seen yet. So most of this team is pretty new, and that's exciting for a new season to begin. And it starts here in the summer, right? We've had that conversation on the show where it starts with the workouts. It starts with the practices. It starts with implementing new plays and learning how Mike Woodson runs his offense and runs his defense. And you get the team cohesion and the team chemistry happens right now, June, July, all the way through until the season begins coming up in November, which is only a few months away. So keep that in mind. But what I'm hearing so far, the rumor is around these summer practices and summer workouts, Mackenzie Mgbako's on fire. That's what I'm hearing. And that should be expected, right? We did an episode a while back here on the show. If you missed it, be sure you go back and check it out on Locked On Hoosiers. We talked about Mackenzie Mgbako making that sophomore jump and why it's almost inevitable. It's almost inevitable that it's going to happen because of what his role is going to be on this team, right? You don't have a Khalil Ware, but you have Oumar Ballo. You bring back Malik Renew, and you have 2 guards that are going to score the basketball and orchestrate the offense. I'm going to talk about those 2 guys in just a second. And so you remember last year with Mackenzie Mgbako, man, he was our go-to 3-point guy. He was it. He was all we had in terms of a legitimate, actual 3-point shooter that you could rely on game in and game out. And so that will not be the case anymore. And apparently, he's just having a ball, and he's just on another level so far. And that should be, I think, the expectation for him coming up this late fall, winter, and spring for the 24-25 season. Mackenzie Mgbako should take that next step, and it sounds like good things are happening there. On the guard front, with your newcomers of Kanaan Carlyle and Myles Rice, I'm hearing great things about them as well. I've heard their chemistry is awesome already. The team is really molding around them early on, and that should be expected. You're talking about two guys that you didn't pull these guys out of George Mason or any. I'm not trying to hate on any school or throw any slander there. Just you get what I'm saying here. You pulled two Pac-12 starting guards from the West Coast, and you're bringing them here to Bloomington from the Pac-12. RIP no longer exists. But you're bringing two guards that know what they're doing, who have experience and have years to give you and have knowledge to give and have such a high-level basketball IQ that they're going to bring to this team. And they're going to bring elite guard play that we just didn't have a year ago, which will take the pressure off of a Mackenzie Mgbako and will help out Malik Renew and Oumar Ballo, right? Man, Kanaan, Carlyle, and Myles Rice are such underrated additions to this team because Ballo gets all the hype, right? Even Luke Goody's getting some of the hype with the three-point shot. People talking about Bryson Tucker and what Ja'Kai Newton could be, Renew coming back. All those things are true. But bringing in two guys that can legitimately run the point and run the guard spot, you can interchange them if you really need to or wanted to just to shake it up a little bit. Those guys I'm hearing are having a great summer already. Now, it's very early, right? And I think it's important that you bring this in and you think about it, but you take it lightly, okay? There's a lot to do and a lot to establish between right now in the middle of June until the season starts coming up in the late fall. Like, there's a lot that still has to happen. And you're playing against each other. You're just practicing and working out and doing all those things right now. But it sounds like things are going well. And here's the good part. Even with your newcomers of Goody and Hatton and all these different guys, you bring in these players plus the returnees, plus your freshmen, plus the couple of guys that are just hanging out because they want to be there. You can afford now, if you're Indiana, for one of those players to just not work out. And you know what? That's reality. One of these players is probably not going to be as good as advertised. Whether it be a portal player, whether it be a freshman, or whether it be a returnee, somebody's not going to be as good as we think they are. But that's okay. You can figure that out right now. You may figure that out in the middle of the season. But this is the time in the summer to figure out who you go to when that happens. I don't think it's going to be often because I think the guards are going to be great, and I think your returnees are going to be fantastic. This roster is stacked, and I'm hearing great things early on as the summer gets going, and the basketball season will be here before we know it. Coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll talk about Xavier Johnson, a former player, of course, here at Indiana, who is getting a possible chance in the NBA. I'll tell you who that team is, why I think he can make it at the next level, and maybe some things he could work on as well. That's coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here again. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. That's right. Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. And you may only have a chance to go to one more with how that series has been going. Boston up 3-0 on Dallas in the NBA Finals. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip off. With some of the great things that I love about Game Time, I've used it a couple of times on sporting events. I even used it on a comedy show, I guess about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe. And it was awesome, right? Ticket prices are exactly what they say they are. You can even get some zone deals, some different deals that they have going on in the app. Plus the seat view, right? You can view where you're at in the arena, in the venue, no matter where you are. And it's going to show you exactly what you're going to see when you buy that ticket. It is fantastic. And their lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So there's literally no reason not to use the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. If you're on YouTube, continue to like these videos, send them to your family and friends, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. A live update. I do this every time we're here. I'll give you an update as we are recording right now. 2,587. All right, so we are on our way to 2,600 subscribers. If you have not done that yet, just click on the channel logo, the Locked On Hoosiers. You can hit subscribe, and you'll become a member of this wonderful community, and you'll never miss a new episode. Same thing for those of you on audio as well. Just follow us, turn on notifications, and you'll never miss a new episode here in the summer of Locked On Hoosiers. Well, some good news today about a former Indiana player, Xavier Johnson, who, of course, is a longtime player of the Indiana Hoosiers and saw his career come to an end here in Bloomington. He will be working out for an NBA team on Thursday, the 13th, in giving a chance to kind of see what he can do, right? Put his skills on display, let an NBA team look at him and see what he's got. Cool thing is, it's not just any NBA team. It's the hometown team. It's the Indiana Pacers. That's right. He will be working out for them to work out with the Pacers. He's going to be working out with Jalen Bridges of Baylor, DJ Burns of North Carolina State. He'll also be working out with Jesse Edwards of West Virginia and Antonio Reeves of Kentucky, amongst some others there for the Indiana Pacers. What a neat opportunity this is for a guy that, look, his NBA career, and I guess an NBA future, is definitely up in the air, right? For a guy that stands at 6'3", he played numerous seasons here for Indiana and was a really, really good player when he stayed healthy. And I think that's something that the NBA is going to look at, and these teams are going to have a little bit of concern with. And how could you not? He's a guy that struggled to stay healthy during his time here. And I think he's good enough to play in the NBA. And I think a lot of us would agree with that to a certain extent. Is Xavier Johnson a all-out first-team starter NBA point guard? No. 6'3", yes. But in today's game, crazy as it is, that's almost undersized. And there are some things that I think he can do really well when he's playing his best basketball. And that's my big concern. I'm going to get to that in a second. But my big concern with Xavier Johnson is, man, you just don't know what you're going to get sometimes. You don't know whether he's going to be locked in mentally, ready to go, focused in on the game, and just playing Xavier Johnson basketball. Because when he does, we've seen what that looks like. We have seen what the best of X looks like. You just don't know if you're going to get that all the time. And I know you could say that about every player that's ever played a sport, but you understand where I'm getting at here. You saw it more with X, a lot more than other players. And I think the injuries had a big reason because of it. I think they had a big part in that. His bads were pretty bad. And he would go times where, man, he was just on the floor to be there. He wasn't doing a whole lot, and he wasn't benefiting the team. But when he's on, he's a great shooter. He's a really good ball handler. He orchestrates the offense. And you could tell a year ago, and even during his career at Indiana, where he would come in and he would be the point guard and everything would just settle down. Everything would just kind of chill out a little bit. Everybody relaxed a little bit more. There was a lot more control with Xavier Johnson on the floor. And you saw that this past year when Gabe Cupp started for a lot of the time while Xavier Johnson was being injured and trying to come back. And the few times that we did see X come back, man, the offense ran really, really good. There's a couple of games in there that the offense looked night and day with him in there. But there were also some times with him in there when he was coming off the bench where not a lot was happening. And his shot kind of left him there for a while, and his finishing ability at the rim, sometimes there, sometimes not. And I think the injuries stick in the back of his mind of, okay, I could get hurt again. And even if you don't think that consciously, a lot of people think about it subconsciously. You may not even know that you're thinking about it, but you're a little worried. And look, that's natural, okay? That's natural. But for a guy that shot 38% from three during his career, and somebody that I think is a threat at the point guard spot. I'm excited to see him get this opportunity. I was seeing if there was any more information. Doesn't look like there is. And so we'll see if he gets any feedback. We'll see what the information is. Can Xavier Johnson play in the NBA? Yeah, I think he can. Is he going to be the next Chris Paul? No, probably not. But he's at least working out and getting an opportunity. Drafted, probably not, but you never know, I guess, and could be signed, could play some G League stuff, could go developmental league type of thing, and try to play, do whatever. And heck, he may have to go overseas and play for a little bit and then come back and try it out in the NBA. But I do think he's still got some left in the tank. I don't think he's a guy that wants to just hang it up and call it a career right now. And how cool would it be if for whatever reason he were to end up on the Indiana Pacers? I think that would be really, really neat. I think a lot of you would resonate with that and be excited to watch him continue his career at the next level right here in our state. I think that'd be really, really neat to see him. And so we'll see how that goes. I'll give you more information as we go. Maybe we'll have something for tomorrow's show as he is working out today on Thursday. But Xavier Johnson, former Indiana guard, will be working out for the Indiana Pacers on Thursday with a couple of other big names. And we'll see if he gets this shot. Former guard Xavier Johnson working out for the Indiana Pacers. Well, coming up in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, going to go a little bit more on a broad scale here with the new rules and everything coming up for college athletics. How does that affect Indiana as a whole? Football, basketball, baseball, and beyond. We'll have that conversation and a little bit of fun in our final segment coming up on Locked On Hoosiers. Final segment here on the show. Appreciate you being here, being out every day. Or if you are here every single day, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do, I appreciate you being here and making Locked On Hoosiers a part of your daily rotation. We all know what's coming. We all know that changes are upon us in college athletics. A lot of people talk about this in the football landscape. We talk about it a lot here on the show in the basketball landscape, but it's going to affect every single college sport. And it's going to affect every single athlete, every single coach, and every single athletics department. And it's all coming down to a few things. It's coming down to the control of NIL. It's coming down to this revenue sharing idea that's coming straight down the pipe, right? Those things are happening. And the question that I pose to you that I'm going to give a little bit of my answer on, we could talk about this for months, for any team, any program, any athletic department in the country. How will this affect Indiana? And I think the Indiana Hoosiers are going to be okay. I think we're going to be in a good spot as a whole, because what seems to be happening is these programs and these schools are going to be able to take some of their revenue and they're going to say, okay, we want to spend X amount of dollars and buy college athletes, pay athletes to come play for us, whether it be football, basketball, hockey, doesn't matter. Okay. The athletics departments are going to have that right. They're going to have that ability. It's what seems to be happening. There's going to be a cap on that. There's literally going to be a salary cap on what colleges can now pay players. It's unbelievable. I know it is unbelievable. But what excites me is when you think about these major schools and programs, think about an Ohio State, for example, okay, to use a Big Ten reference here. They make the majority of their money, their revenue, their profit on football, right? They make millions on football every single year. They make some money on basketball. Most big name schools don't even break even on baseball, and they lose money on every other sport across campus. It's crazy, but it's true. Ohio State is now going to be able to use all that money that they make from football with the salary cap, whatever that number is. They're thinking 20, 25 million, something in there. And they can now go out and they can do whatever they want. They can buy athletes. They can pay them. They can recruit them. They can do whatever they want. Okay. So they know that Ohio State's going to know that every single season they are going to have that maximum number because of how much money they make on football. They can use it to pay basketball players or baseball players, whatever the case may be. What excites me about that for Indiana in the future of what we can do here in Bloomington is what the future of football looks like. The fact that we have a head coach now that gets it and is getting people to buy in. He's getting you, the fan, to buy in. He's getting the university to buy in. He's getting the donors to buy in to what's happening in Bloomington. And it's crazy, but even for a program like Indiana football that has not been near the top for a while and is considered, middle of the pack to even the bottom at times in terms of, money and facilities and things like that, we still make a lot of money on football every year between television and radio and concessions and merchandising and all the things that go into that. And so the growth of Indiana football is exciting because the more that it grows, the bigger opportunities that Indiana has to go out and benefit the student athletes for football and then basketball and baseball and softball if they want to go that way and what have you. So that's what excites me about the future of Indiana athletics with all of these new rules that are coming, because how much money are we going to have? How much money will we be allowed to spend? And then Indiana, like every other program and every other athletics department across the country, will have to sit down and have that tough conversation. Where do we spend the money? What sport are we going to spend it on? We could probably take a guess at the two that Indiana's going to spend it on, right? The big one, the big moneymaker of football, and then, of course, basketball, which there's no secret on what we do here in the state of Indiana, right? So then you have to decide, all right, what do we do with the rest? Title IX issues are going to be flying off the handle, so just be ready for that. You're going to see Title IX suits all over the place across the country at different schools and states. It's going to be wild, but I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be in a good spot, and I think the Indiana Hoosiers, as an athletics program for all sports, can be a driving force in all of this and can really benefit in terms of basketball in particular to go out and be at the top. Put your money where your mouth is with basketball. You want to be the state school. You want to be the big program again in this state. Go get some players. And it's legal now. You can go buy them. You can physically pay them to come play for you. Isn't that wild? That's what's coming. It's revenue sharing. It's basically professional sports. And I believe that Indiana has a chance to benefit from all of this. And most schools should. It's going to come down to, can you manage it? Can you control it? And realistically, can you keep it up? Can you maintain it? Can you withstand it? Because it's going to be a lot more on coaches and athletic directors and things like that. But I'm confident that Indiana will benefit from this. There's still so many unknowns here, so many questions we have to answer, but I think we're going to be in a good spot. I'm excited for the future of college athletics. It scares me, and there's a lot of things I don't agree with, but I am excited to see what it looks like. And then, more importantly, what it looks like for us, what it looks like for Indiana athletics across the board, all sports, how we benefit from that and what the future of that looks like. I'm excited about it, and I think you should be too. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Again, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you making this your first listen each and every day. My everydayers, you are the reason I do this. I see you. I do. I see you guys. I appreciate you, man. This is been a lot of fun, and we're continuing on. We are pushing through. We are gonna have some fun over the summer. Basketball season's right around the corner. Football season's even closer, man. Excited for all of that. Big off-season topics as we go. Gonna get some more guest and crossover things as we go to make it a lot of fun throughout the summer months. And then football will be here, basketball will be here, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that too. Be sure you like and subscribe to like the video, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Audio listeners, follow us, turn on notifications, become a part of this wonderful family. Okay, you can follow me on X at Goins2Jacob. You can follow the show at Locked On Hoosiers as well. Engage with me there. Engage with me in the comments. I want you to be a part of this community. It's a lot of fun, and you should be active. I want to see you. I want to talk to you and interact with you because I like to get you guys involved in the show as well. So we'll do some more of that as well. We'll have an episode up for you tomorrow as we head into the weekend. Until then, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.